have a Dutch oven. That is one of those things I don't have. I just got the Lodge brand. They're on sale, $15 off. So I figured I'd just snag one now before things change and it gets much more expensive. I am not going to buy a Crusade for $200 when I don't even know if I like it. So I figured I'd just grab one now, and that way when I'm ready for it, I've got it. I think today we'll end up running down to Costco. I am going to buy a bunch of coffee, with some concerns that we've had between our current government and Colombia, threatening tariffs, those kind of things. Coffee is one thing that is my thing in life. So I am going to buy a bunch of coffee. And then on top of that, just thinking about other kind of preparations. When the election happened in November, very distressing for me personally, as I'm sure most like-minded people. So I started thinking about what can I control? What can I prepare for? And I started, so last pandemic, paper products were the big thing. Toilet paper's gone, paper towels gone. It wasn't too bad here. We are so rural that it didn't really feel super affected, but watching family in Spokane and Seattle, those kind of areas where shelves were cleared out. And so I got the bidet attachments for both of our toilets, and then switching from not using paper towels as much, I put one of those under the cabinet baskets. I ended up just screwing it to the wall, but we switched over to rags. I moved our paper towel holder into the pantry for gross things. We've got animals, we've got a kid. There are things that I do not want to wash, and I think that's okay. But it's been really easy to switch over to using just washcloths. I call them rags, but they're just washcloths. I was gifted some unpaper towels for Christmas. I use those, like, we had corn dogs. I put those on on an unpaper towel instead of using plate or getting a paper towel. They're fine. And so that switchover has been easy. We always kept washcloths and rags in our living room for our son, so that if he needed one for his face, it was easier for him he can be a little independent and grab those. I just put some in his room last night as well. We have been fighting a respiratory cold. We're like a week out, but there's still some drainage, and being 4 years old, don't exactly know how to blow our nose very well. But that's the other thing, I do keep Kleenex or tissues. I'm not yet interested in exploring the reusable handkerchief option, but getting away from paper products, that's probably not going to be the shortage this time around, but who knows. I stocked up on pads. I also am looking into making reusable pads. It was requested by a neighbor of mine last year, and I just never got around to it. So I have the materials for it already. The absorbent material called Zorb I bought for making suck pads for my baby carrier. I made them one time, never found them useful. That was not something he really did. So I have that material, and it's just a matter, and I have a snap press, and I have everything for it. It's just sitting down and doing it, which it's hard to get time in the sewing room and working through projects. But that's okay. So that's on my list as well, reusable pads. So my husband, what's the deal with paper? It's just something I can control. It might mean nothing, but I feel like I'm doing something. So kind of the next step was, okay, what do we need in our freezer? What do we need in our pantry? So we've got a little bit of supply. And how do I make things more accessible in the kitchen? So going through reorganizing and clearing out our pantry, getting a little rack that rolls in there for snacks for easy access, getting the membership that we were gifted it in Christmas of 2019. Pandemic, baby. The membership only went up $5 since we were gifted that, and nothing expired, so that was really cool. I appreciate that of Costco, that it really cost me $5 extra to get a membership 5 years later. So it's an hour drive down there. I have to get crickets and mealworms for our lizards and tarantula anyways. I do that probably once a week, so we'll make a round of it down there. I usually stop by Joann's. You probably know Joann's has filed bankruptcy again, so I'm just going to take a look. There's not a lot online that I'm interested in. I do use their interlock knit fabric for thicker joggers for my son, but I have other options. I really like French Terry from like Million Dots or IC Fabric, knitfabric.com. I like their heavyweight French Terry, so I've got plenty of options for heavier weight fabric. I'm not super reliant on Joann's for my crafting options, but it's nice to go see stuff in person. I don't get to do a whole lot in person. When I first started sewing, everything was online. All of my patterns are all online. I do nothing in person. I print it all off. I have systems to store them, so I'm not reprinting same sizes, those kind of things. But all of my fabric was purchased online. I do like to do a lot of the buy-sell trade, where I can get other people's remainder fabric that they didn't use, so I can try some different things. But it's nice to see some things in person. Joann's fabric is not as high quality, but also it is half the price, so make compromises there. I do like their interlock knit, and it lasts for quite a while. My son's pants were well over a year, never had holes in them, rough and tumble, so we'll see what happens with Joann's. It's too bad that nobody is interested in buying them yet, because it does make crafting accessible for people. I do miss Hancock fabrics. I grew up with them, in high school, being able to quilt and things like that. It was nice. They had a great selection of fabric. So that's kind of where I'm thinking, just what can I prep, what can I prepare. Today we'll go buy a whole bunch of coffee and store that away. The 3-pound bags are lasting, well over a month, so that's nice. And at least get myself a little bit of hen. Not sure of other things, what direction I want to prepare, but I think I'm going to make some Tuscan chicken for dinner today. Got the spinach, I have the tomatoes at home already. We just needed some new heavy cream, so I snagged that. Got the chicken already. Have a ton of rice, which is what I think I'll put with it. And I did get sun-dried tomatoes. Walmart also has all of their seeds out. I have some seeds packed away, but we have to redo our deck this spring. We're gonna make some better shade area because we live in full sun. And every year I try a garden. I did not try this year because I just need a reset. But every year I try a garden, and even if it's shaded, it's going well, it's watered, it fries in August because we're at over 100 for that month, and literally our house is full sun. There is, from morning to night, no shade. So we're talking about how we can build posts on the outside of our backyard, which is what gets the most sun, attached to our deck, and then put sun sails up. Because we did get our son a swing set this year. He's got a climbing dome. That's where his sandbox is. And he needs some shade so he can play outside too. And then we have a daylight basement. So that's where my sewing space is. He's old enough now. I can work in my room while he plays in the yard. And we're still close enough we can hear each other. But we need to create shade. And with creating shade, we can grow fruits and vegetables. We can get some trees growing. So in 15 years, nobody has to put sun sails out. Because I'm sure, as we all know, we are lucky we were able to buy a house. We did have assistance. Without that, concerns do you have?